Hello and welcome back to Culinary Haven. Today we're making apple fritters. Another great idea we picked up from our trip to America. Donuts with apples and cinnamon glaze. They're absolutely delicious. Let's begin. To make Culinary Haven apple fritters, we'll need 450 grams of bread flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of easy bake yeast, 40 grams of sugar, 250 ml of milk, 25 grams of lard, 25 grams of butter, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 1 egg, and 4 apples, depends on the size. If they're larger than this, then maybe 3. And of course we'll need plenty of cooking oil. You can use either sunflower oil or groundnut oil or canola oil, any oil with a high smoking point. And a little bit more detail, the milk should be very warm because the butter and the lard are cold from the fridge. We don't want them melted, we want them very soft. So we just put them into the jug with the milk and it will cool the milk and soften the fats. Let it sit for a couple of minutes until everything is the right temperature. And also the apples have to be peeled, cored and chopped into small cubes. For the apples, you can use any apples you like. For example, here I have Gala, russet and Cox's apples, and just chop them into small cubes. And now let's make the dough. You can make the dough in a stand mixer with a hook attachment, but it's really easy just to do it by hand in a bowl. I'll show you how. Sift the flour, teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast and 40 grams of sugar. Sift it all together into the bowl. The milk is now barely warm, which is good, and the butter and the lard are nice and soft. The reason why we're using both butter and lard, adding lard makes the dough fluffier. And now we're going to crack 1 egg into the milk mixture, 1 teaspoon pure vanilla extract. Now just whisk it lightly, blend it all together. That's it. And pour it all into this bowl. Mix it with a spatula until the dough comes together, and then we'll continue and finish kneading on the worktop. The dough is forming, and now I think it's time I can just transfer it all onto the worktop and just do the kneading there. Flour your worktop and transfer the dough from the bowl onto the worktop. Still has even some dry flour in it, but that's fine. And start kneading. With the palm of your hand, you can see it's a very rough, shaggy dough, not at all what we're looking for, but it will be. And you will be amazed how quickly it transforms from something like this into a nice, soft, pliable dough. Using a dough scraper, what you do is you push it and pull it back, and that will create a nice, lovely, soft dough. And it takes literally a couple of minutes. It's been less than 2 minutes, and look at the dough. It's ready. It's almost ready. You can see it's smoother and more elastic, and with every push and pull back, it's getting nicer and smoother and more elastic. Actually, it is ready now, but we have to incorporate the apples as well. So what we're going to do, take a handful and in the dough, and then some more, and then some more, as much as we can. The more apples, the better they will taste. And don't worry if it just looks like a mess, but there is method to this madness, and you'll see. Basically what we are trying to do is to make apples stick to the dough, and if we manage that, the rest doesn't matter. Don't worry about how it looks. Whatever it looks, it's fine. As many as you can, just as long as they're not on your worktop and they're inside this dough mess, it's fine. You'll see. Just keep pushing them in. Last handful, and that will do. Now push it all together. Even if they're sticking out a little bit, it's okay. Don't worry about that. The dough will rise and it will swallow the apples inside it. Now we're going to dust this mixture with some flour and let it rest. I have a little bit of apples left here. It's fine. We have plenty here. And remember, when you're making the dough has to be completely ready. You can't add the apples sort of halfway, because with apples in, it's impossible to knead the dough. The process of incorporating the apples into a ready dough. Dust it with some flour, very little, just keep it all together. Now we're going to put this back into the bowl, cover it with a piece of cling film, and let it rise until it's doubled in bulk, and it will. And if you're a little bit pressed for time, I'll give you a tip how to make the dough develop faster. Boil a kettle and put a bowl on the bottom of your oven with some boiling water, and then put the bowl with your dough on the middle rack and close the door of the oven, and it will rise in less than an hour that way. And if you keep it just at the room temperature, it might take an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. Here we are. It's only been 1 hour and 10 minutes, and the dough has more than doubled in bulk actually in the steamed oven. And now we're going to deflate it and divide, flour the surface. See, it's all very airy and all puffed the way we want it. Dust it lightly with the flour, just a little bit. It's not sticky. Apples are everywhere throughout this dough. We'll divide this in half-ish, and then each half will cut into 8 pieces. So half again, and then in 4. There. And just flatten them like this and put them on the parchment-lined baking tray. So we'll need 2 trays. Very lightly dust them with the flour so they're not sticking to the trays. We'll have to let them rise again, just to puff up again, so just space them so they're not too crowded and not touching each other. They may not be all the same size or shape, but that's the idea. Freestyle. And the same with the second half of the dough. This 8 well spaced are going back into the steamed oven for about 30 minutes until they just puff up a little bit. And the same with the second half. There won't be 2 of the same size or shape because there's a different amount of apples in them, and they're just, but that's the beauty of them. And this tray also goes back into the oven 30 minutes. The time is up. The apple fritters are ready to get fried. I will show you how they look like now. As you can see, they really puffed up well, and it's time to go. We'll need either a deep fat fryer, which I don't have. I just have a wide pan and I poured in about a liter of sunflower oil and preheated it to 160 degrees Celsius. That's the optimal temperature for deep frying. So make sure that you preheat your oil, and if you have a thermometer, it would be great. We're going to fry 4 at a time, 1 minute on each side. No peeking, let them be. 1 minute exactly. Then we'll turn them and see. Right, let's see. Lovely. Very careful. Right, the minute is up. Let's check. Another 5 seconds. What we're looking for is a nice golden brown color. That's it. That's enough. And take them out and put them on a paper towel lined tray. On with the next 4. So altogether it takes only 8 minutes, maybe 10, to cook all of them. And here they are, the first 8, sitting here, getting rid of the excess oil, looking really good with this beautiful golden brown color, and the apples almost transparent, which shows how well they're cooked. That's it. Here we are, all ready, looking absolutely gorgeous. Last thing, we'll make the glaze, cinnamon glaze, with some maple syrup as well. So 200 grams of sifted icing sugar, 2 tablespoons of maple syrup, 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, and we'll start with 2 tablespoons of boiling water. Stir it and see how it goes. It's definitely not enough. 1 more. The consistency that we're looking for here is sort of close to runny, that we can dip them in. Yeah, like that. Tiny half a spoon. More. That's it, ready. Now we'll quickly dip each apple fritter, which are still very warm, but that's a good thing, one side and onto a wire rack sitting on top of our baking tray. And the last one, as you can see, it was the perfect amount of glaze. We don't want to waste, and we don't want to just eat the glaze on its own. That's not good. That's it. There. Here they are, all glazed, and just give them a couple of minutes for the glaze to set and enjoy. Don't take my word for it. Try them. Thank you for watching this episode of Culinary Haven, and until next time, bye.